CHIPS, Charts and Instruments in Pathology for Students. I hope you are able to see the couple of glassware or instruments on the screen. And I do hope that you can identify the Westergrens or the Winthrop's tube, which can be kept for you people, both as spotters, or they can also form part of the practical examination. Moreover, they are important from the theory point of view also. I would like you people to kindly draw this diagram, a beautiful one in which I am able to see the plasma as a supernatant, a thin buffy coat, and a red zone of RBCs. So this can happen in a Winthrop's tube. And what I am seeing here is the Pasteur's pipettes. So these have a long nozzle and it is put right inside the tube, and as it is being fed into the tube, the Pasteur's pipette is gradually withdrawn. And the hematocrit is supposed to be a ratio of the RBCs to the entire blood, and there is a formula for it. Packed cell volume. This itself is a question for you. The use of the Winthrop's tube is twofold. One, finding out the packed cell volume, and another one is the erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Coming to the packed cell volume, PCV itself. As I mentioned, there is a supernatant layer of plasma, a buffy coat, and then the RBCs. These are the normal values, and I hope you people can note it down. The packed cell indicates the RBCs. It is decreased in a case of severe anemia, also in overhydration. Whereas polycythemia is an elevation of the RBCs, this can happen in severe dehydration, also in some conditions such as polycythemia vera. This is a Winthrop's tube that I'm seeing. There are two sets of readings. One is from 10 to 1 and another is 0 to 10. So these are the two sets of readings over here. The tube itself is about 110 millimeters long. The first 1 centimeter is not graduated, after which I have got the graduations. And the distance that is traveled by the erythrocytes is used for the erythrocyte sedimentation rate, whereas the volume is used for the packed cell volume. Accordingly, you will be having two sets of readings. This is a thick pipette which is open at one end, a tube rather, and it has got a very narrow bore measuring about 2.5 millimeters. And the tube is calibrated on both the sides, 0 to 10 and 10 to 0. This is another tube, Westergren. Westergren is a longer word, so you can remember. It is a longer tube. The tube measures 30 centimeters, that is 300 millimeters. It is open at both ends, whereas the Winthrop's tube is open only at one end. The inner diameter or the bore is about 2.5 millimeters. The graduations are from 0 to 200. And about 10 centimeters are free of graduations so that the blood does not enter the mouth of the person sucking the blood. The anticoagulant used for Westergren's method is called the trisodium citrate. 3.8% trisodium citrate is used and the ratio is 1:4 of the reagent and blood. Sometimes it is collected in ready-made tubes. So this is the Westergren's tube over here. I am finding there is about 10 centimeter free of graduations, after which from 0 to 200 millimeters the graduations are there. And this is the inner bore. And after taking a sample of blood, you keep it in the blood and the blood goes up by capillary action. And it is put onto a stand called the ESR stand. There are many factors which will be affecting the erythrocyte sedimentation, and there can be some causes for error. For example, the duration. If it is not exactly 1 hour, the value will change. Verticality of the tube. Look at this one, this is a perfect right angle. So the tube has to be exactly at right angle to the surface. Dilution. If there is an error in dilution, there can be a change in value. Temperature. The ESR can vary according to the temperatures, and we have got correction charts for that. Any vibration of the chart. So it has to be on a sturdy surface. And fibrinogen content of the blood. These are all some causes which will affect the value of the ESR. I would like you to compare these. Both of this can be kept as instruments for you people. Open at both ends is a Vestagren tube. It is longer, graduations from 0 to 200. Whereas a Winthrop's tube, the graduation will be from 0 to 100 millimeters or 10 centimeters. And the other one is used for the packed cell volume. And these are the graduations which are seen. The differences are given over here. One other difference which I failed to mention was the anticoagulant is 3.8% trisodium citrate in Vestagren, whereas in Winthrop it is a double oxalate mixture. The EDTA blood is used for packed cell volume. So here it is used for ESR, whereas the Winthrop's tube is used for ESR as well as PCV. And these are the sets of graduations. This is a normal method that is being conventionally used in most of the laboratories, and this is a ESR stand, and you have got a reading over here. There is also another instrument called the microcentrifuge or the Zetafuge. The blood is collected and it is rotated in a centrifuge. The values are taken. So this is a automated ESR machine. There are some factors which are affecting the ESR, which can be physiological factors or laboratory factors. ESR can actually rise in any condition ranging from cough to coma. These are the words of Hutchisons, a clinical physician. The physiological causes can be plasma factors, red cell factors, Rouleau formation, age and sex of the patient, pregnancy, etc. Similarly, it can vary according to the temperature, time, the amount of anticoagulant, etc. Tilting of the tube, lack of verticality, vibrations, and sunlight. One condition where there will be a massive increase in the ESR will be multiple myeloma, Waldenström's macroglobulinemia. There it will be more than 100 millimeters per hour. Some condition where the ESR is not raised will be polycythemia and sickle cell anemia, because the RBCs cannot pack that easily. See you in CHIPS 9.